This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN Network. And joining me right now is John Arbuthnot. He is the co-founder, CEO, and director of Delta-9 Cannabis, publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: DN on the TSX and DLTNF on the OTCQX. With that, John, good to see you, man. How you doing?
Robert, I'm well. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. So last time we did an interview together, we published that on April 12th, 2021, earlier this year. So let's get that update. You know, what would you say are some of the company's highlights since then?
Well, it's the cannabis sector, Robert. So that seems like a million years ago, earlier this year. But I'm sure at that time we would have run over kind of the year-end results for 2020, highlighting some of the top-line revenue growth, which I know we'll speak on towards the end. Really, the summer months for us have been busy. So we started this calendar year, I believe, with 9 operating stores. We're now at 16 as of this week. So the company's growth strategy on the retail side, mix of organic store builds and M&A. So we've opened a number of stores throughout the year. We recently closed an acquisition of 2 stores in the province of Alberta. Looking to position these acquisitions to be accretive, paying a fraction under 0.5x revenue, and looking for deals that are immediately accretive. We feel that's how we're going to build this store chain to 20, 30, 40, 50 stores over the coming quarters and years, and really position ourselves as a national distributor from a retail perspective. I think we're not too far off being a top 5 retailer by store count, by revenue, and some of those key metrics. So continuing the push on the retail expansion for the company, continuing to push in terms of product development, the LP and wholesale side of our business. So we're continuing to roll out new brands, new products, expanding our SKU count across our provincial markets. A reminder for listeners, we are distributing product in 6 provincial markets currently. We're in the process of listing our products in Quebec. From there, we'll look to New Brunswick, likely to round out our distribution portfolio from coast to coast. But now dozens of brands of Delta-9 flower available across those markets. Pre-rolls, we are looking to do a deeper dive in the later part of the year on extracts, derivatives, and re-rolling out our line of concentrate products as well. So continuing to push the expansion of the brand portfolio on the wholesale side of our business. And then we look at grow pods. On the grow pod, the infrastructure side of our business, providing consulting. Again, reminder for listeners, this is the more picks and shovels side of our story, where we sell cannabis cultivation equipment, we sell grow pods, and we provide consulting licensing services for other licensed and pre-licensed cannabis companies. We've now started to really push the sales and marketing efforts for this segment into the United States. All of our company's cannabis touching activities occur in Canada, but in our infrastructure segment, we can look international, given it's a non-plant touching activity. So we're now contracted on, or I guess last year we were contracted on facilities in Michigan and Maine. Through COVID, we've really started to now pivot the focus of the marketing efforts into the United States, obviously seeing exposure to growth in advance of US legalization federally. So we're now contracted on facilities in Montana and Illinois, and with borders starting to open up for international travel, gives us the opportunity to really ramp up our presence at things like trade shows and conferences, which are the bulk of our marketing efforts now into the fall. So I think a good amount of traction across our businesses over the summer from an operations perspective, and I'm happy to run through our latest quarterly results as well.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a second, because we're recording this today on Friday, September 24th. And the company just put out the news that it placed 7th on the Globe and Mail's 3rd annual ranking of Canada's top growing Canadian companies. So tell us a little bit about that. You know, what's it, how does it feel to be included on this list? What does this mean for the company?
Yeah, when we got the initial notification from the Globe and Mail and Report on Business that we would be likely on the list, we were surprised, obviously thrilled to be included in I guess the top 450 or so companies in terms of growth rates over the last 3 years in Canada. I didn't expect that we would break the top 10 and actually came in at number 7 on that ranking list. So the highest ranking cannabis company, the highest ranking company based out of our home province here. So I think, certainly a point of pride for ourselves and the company to have seen that. Company recorded as a part of this ranking 5,400% revenue growth over the last 3 years versus the base year 2017. So, speaks to the company had an aggressive growth strategy coming into legalization here in Canada. We've executed on that strategy, those 3 business segments producing very material revenue growth for us over the last 3 years.
Very cool. Well, again, congratulations on making this list, and so let's get into, what you alluded to previously, if you could provide us a little overview of some of the Q2 results, and then also to close us out from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now for the rest of 2021 going into 2022?
Yeah, for sure. So the Q2 results, we're continuing to see that top line revenue growth. A lot of the Canadian cannabis sector has been kind of going sideways, with some companies posting sequential declines in revenue into this year. We've been able to buck that trend again. Q2 revenue, 16.75 million. So puts us, nearing a 70 million annualized revenue run rate now based on the Q2 results. Another quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA, about 1.2 million. For the quarter. So we showed sequential revenue growth versus the first quarter, year-over-year revenue growth of 27% versus the same quarter last year. So continuing to show that year-over-year, quarter-over-quarter growth. All 3 business segments, again, humming along for us in the second quarter, over 10 million in retail revenues, 5.6 million in cannabis wholesale revenues, which was a record quarter for our cannabis wholesale segment, and about 1.8 million in grow pod and consulting revenue for the quarter. So, very, very happy with the Q2 results, just continuing to see that track record for execution. This is now our 7th consecutive quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA results for the company.
Very good. And real quick, the second part of that question, what you alluded to it already, but, I'd love to hear kind of the full wrap on, going forward, again, from what you can tell us the rest of 2021 going into 2022.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's been well published, the Canadian space, the challenges that the LPs and the wholesalers are having in the Canadian cannabis market. I think we've done a good job. We need to continue to develop new products to round out our brand portfolio and continue to take on new provincial distribution markets to drive growth. But a key factor for us in terms of how we're going to drive that growth on the wholesale side of our business is continuing that expansion in retail. 25% of revenue in Delta-9 stores are Delta-9 branded products. So we're very effective at driving distribution of our own products through to end consumers with this vertical integration strategy. Now it's 16 operating stores. We look to be at 20 operating stores at a minimum by the end of this year. And again, we'll continue that expansion, adding dozens of stores into the following years here, as again, we look to become more of a national chain and a top 5 Canadian cannabis retailer. Our infrastructure business, we now have eyes on the US and other international markets. We've recently signed a deal with Cultivated. They're a high-tech vertical farming brokerage out of the US that's looking to help us expand that business segment. We are looking to open US-based manufacturing facilities and showrooms into the near future as well. So we'll continue that expansion into international markets on the B2B side. I think all of that will continue to generate operating momentum and produce positive financial results for us into the future.
And John, with that, where can our audience go and find more information on Delta-9 Cannabis?
Yeah, so a few avenues for investors to do due diligence on the company. Delta9.ca is our consumer-facing website. Invest.delta9.ca is the investor-oriented page. Please feel free to reach out, contact us with any questions. All of the investor materials you'll need, fact sheets, investor presentations, as well as financial statements, management discussion analysis. All of those documents are on our website as well. So any information you'll need for due diligence is at your fingertips, and please do reach out to us with any questions.
Very good. Well, John, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Robert, thank you for having me.